Time to get after it again here on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast. Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Eric Eager from Super Sports, Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB. The schedule is out. Long awaited. The Kansas City Chiefs have their opponents. Well, they've had their opponents for quite some time. Now they have the order that they will play them. How will it lay out? Where are the wins? Where are the losses? Where are the struggles? Where are the look-aheads? Where are the letdowns? Where might there be trouble? We break it all down right now on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.
You're listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Eric Eager, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Eric Eager is the vice president of research and development for Sumer Sports. Soren Petro was the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Gann Asphalt and Concrete is now hiring for all positions: project manager, dump truck drivers, operators, and crew members. Starting pay up to $30 per hour based on experience, with paid time off and insurance, just to name a few of the benefits. Check out GannAsphalt.com for more info. Now, here are the hosts of the best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Eric Eager, and Soren Petro.
And welcome as we break down what the Kansas City Chiefs schedule looks like. I'm in my usual spot, tucked away in the basement. Jeff Chadiha in his broadcast headquarters. Eric Eager comes to us from parts unknown, the international man of mystery, always on the move. Have you made your move yet, Eric? Is that what we're looking at, or is it still in progress?
June 1st will be official, but yeah, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia right now. I'm in a hotel. Some of my stuff is moved, some of my stuff is not. So yeah.
So we're en route.
Somebody said my hair looked nice. I got to be honest with you. Yesterday's Sumer Sports Show, my hair was an absolute disaster the entire time, and I was all I could think about was the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the best Chiefs podcast, right. And our great fans.
The audience loves you.
Yeah, and knowing that your hair would be the premium topic of discussion, is that what you're getting at?
I mean, yeah. Apparently, it's sat well today, but yesterday it was a privilege.
All right,
not as big of a privilege, by the way, Petro, as you waiting until 8:59 Eastern to send the email for us to get on the show, and then no later than like 8:59 and 30 seconds being like, "Where the is Eager?"
No, I just said I put Eager question mark. That's what I put. Let's be fair. There's no doubt I was running late. I had everything ready to go. I just was trying to squeeze in an episode of Ted Lasso with my daughter before we got going. So
you're a good dad.
If we're a couple minutes late, that's my fault. So I do apologize. All right. I wish I had a good segue from Ted Lasso to the schedule, but I don't think I do. So I'll just get right into it. Let's start. We're going to go through game by game, right? We're going to give our wins and losses, what we think the record's going to be. At the end, then, and as we go, we can point out, hey, difficult spots, look ahead, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to add to it. So 17 games to get through. Let's start with Jeff. First of all, how surprised were you that it was the Detroit Lions, and how much do you think it was the NFL's obsession, may I say passion, for our podcast, and knowing that you and Eric Eager are the two biggest Lions fans? Both of you, one lives in Kansas City, one frequents Kansas City. How much do you think this matchup was made just for you two?
Not at all, obviously, but when you look at when the schedule came out, I had to sign a confidentiality agreement to see the schedule. So I feel privileged in some ways that I got like top secret info a couple of days ahead of time. But you look at the opponents they had, there weren't that many great options for the first game, because you knew the Bengals game, really do they have intra-conference scheduled games in that slot. The Eagles would have been a great rematch to be in the first game, but it also makes sense where they're at. I'm sure, obviously, all the networks bid on these things, so I don't think they had a lot of great options to go to that first game. So the Detroit Lions, the way they finished, being a very trendy pick to win the North with obviously an interesting head coach and a lot of interesting moves in the draft, a lot of hype around them. I'm excited for that game now.
Yeah, I do too. And Eric, it proves how big the league and the television partners think the Lions are going to be this year.
I'll take some credit for it. Honestly, gassing them up all last offseason, getting the Restore the Roar hashtag going, staying with it when they were 1-6 and left for dead. I'm excited. I mean, look, I kind of disagree with Jeff. I do wonder, the end of the season in the NFL is a crapshoot anyway. And, I know you want to save the Bengals game for later. I know you want to save you want to save some of the other games for later. But at the same time, like, you don't know. And I don't even think they did a great job. I know we're going to talk about it on Too Deep, our favorite games this season. Look at Week 17. Like, there's 2 good Week 17 games. Or Week 18, I'm sorry, the final week of the season. It's like the NFL is – I don't even know if they do this that well. No offense, Jeff. And I'm just like –
I have no involvement in it, yeah.
And I know that they don't want to waste, a game on opening night, and I think part of it is they'll say, like, look, we're going to be watching anyway, so they can put a Lions team that's kind of compelling, but not one of the best teams on their schedule up there. But it's a very interesting, game. I'm excited for it. I think the Lions, the schedule lays out pretty well for Detroit. So even if they don't win opening night against the Chiefs, they still are, I think, have a pretty solid schedule for them going forward. But it's a very interesting one. It's funny that the Lions have gotten some money in the betting markets. Money I don't necessarily agree with, but it's interesting for sure.
All right, I've got the Chiefs winning Week 1 against the Lions. Jeff?
Yeah. They've only lost one opener under Andy Reid, if I'm correct. So it'd be hard to go against them in that game. Although I think it's going to be a close game and a revealing game. The Lions bring something offensively. I think that they're going to be an explosive offense again. Defensively, we'll see where they're at. But yeah, betting against Andy Reid with an entire offseason prepared for one game is always a mistake.
Eric, any reason to think the Lions get off to a better start? Or, they didn't get off to a hot start last year.
Well, they did cover and play a decent game against the Eagles in Week 1. I think if Goff doesn't throw a pick 6, they probably at least have a chance in that game. So, Detroit last year, they covered against Eagles. They beat Washington to sleep at home in Week 2, and then they went to Minnesota and probably should have won, and they did cover. So I think it was that kind of middle part when Amon-Ra St. Brown was injured that they really struggled and got off to the 1-6 start. I think that they're competitive, but I think 6.5, if you're a bettor, you have to lay that with the Chiefs in Week 1. So I think the Chiefs win.
You got the Chiefs winning. All right. So all three of us have them winning Week 1 against the Lions at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is obviously a rematch of the playoff game, Jeff. Or let's have Eric. Eric, you take this one first. We don't want to dump Jeff out there first on each of them. You've got the I guess I went first on the last one. So Eric, you'll go second, then we'll go to Jeff. What do you got for the Jaguars? Trevor Lawrence ready to handle business at home? The Jags better than the Chiefs this early in the season?
Yeah, I mean, it is the year of the cat. I think both Jags. It's funny. Jags and Lions were both 1-2. Both went 9-8 last year, picking first and second in the draft. The Jaguars are heavy favorites to win their own division. They're favorites against the field. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. I don't know who in the AFC South is going to be competitive other than the Jags, but I don't necessarily think the Jags should be getting coronated the way that they have. So I think the Chiefs win week 2 again.
All right, so Eager takes the Chiefs to 2-0. Jeff, who you got here in this one?
Now, I agree with that one. I think the Jags are going to be one of the more overrated teams in this season. They should be the best team in the weak division, the AFC South, but I also feel like they're not going to be that much better than what they were this past season, they're going to take this huge jump like the Eagles took from 9-8 2 years ago to being whatever they were, 13-4, 14-3. So I think they're going to be a 9-win team again. And that early in the season, playing against the coach you know really well, and Doug Peterson, I think that's a pretty safe bet for the Chiefs there.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs winning as well, and I'm kind of surprised to hear. I agree exactly with what you're saying about the Jaguars, although I'll disagree with Eric a little bit in the sense that, yeah, I don't think they're going to be especially great, but no one will contend. Like that's the point. The only team that could is the Tennessee Titans. If you wanted to, try to grab something crafty, bet on the coach, bet on Mike Vrabel, bet that Ryan Tannehill stays healthy. That's the only spot you can get to. So if they don't run away with it, it'll be because they're in a dogfight with the Titans. They feel 9-8-ish, 10-7-ish. They feel a little bit dangerous, right? If you play a bad game down there, but early in the season, Andy Reid to me is usually a step ahead. I think he'll be a step ahead of Doug Peterson, and I'm with you. I think the Jaguars are an overrated commodity, and I think the Chiefs win this one. All right, Jeff, we'll give you the honors on week 3. The Chicago Bears, which we had some people. I know Gary was one of them that said, he can't believe that. Why would the Chiefs designate the Bears as the game they want to protect? I talked with some folks. I mean, money. That's why. Dynamic pricing is reality in the NFL. That means they charge different amounts for different games. Chicago has 1 million flights between Kansas City and Chicago. They are an 8-hour drive for Bears fans that live even closer. There are Bears fans all over the place. It's one of the most
fans here.
The Bear fans here. It's one of the most populous fan bases out there, and it is going to bring premium dollar. The fact that Chiefs fans always want it. There are tons of Bears fans that will want it. That is going to put one of the biggest bottom lines, to the Chiefs. And that's why I think that's why the Bears were the game that they protected and wouldn't let go over to London, because London would have loved that. Frankfurt would have loved that, the demand for the ticket. So that's the reason on that. But do the Bears, are they second city in this one, or are they ready to step up?
To add to the point you're making about the Bears, I know somebody mentioned the Dolphins should have been week 1. The Dolphins are one of the worst teams as far as traveling and fans. In fact, The Athletic doesn't even cover the Dolphins anymore because their audience for that team is so mediocre. So, yeah, I think the Bears are an interesting team, but they're far from being a good team yet. I think they will grow this season. You'll see Justin Fields make a lot of improvement, but I mean, God, this team, they have like 20 sacks as a defense last year and one of the worst offensive lines. A lot of time to grow up here. I just don't think you want to see the Chiefs in week 3 when you're trying to figure out who you are.
No,
I'll take a win.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll have some comments about the Dolphin game, that play. I think you're absolutely right, Jeff. You nailed it. The heart of it, they're not a great fan base. I'm going to be honest with you. And there's another element at play as to why they're the opponents when the Germany game comes around. Eric, the Bears, very active on draft day, maneuvered around a lot. They make their team good enough to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City.
No.
Yeah.
Are we like, I can't wait till this podcast is fun, but I'm going to say win in most of these games. I'm going to throw you guys off a few times, but like, the Bears are somehow favored in week 1 against the Packers, and the Packers are going to absolutely roll them. The Bears are a cute little story. I'm happy for their fans. I'm happy that they finally think they're going to get a 4,000-yard passer and whatever the heck. And it's going to take a little bit of time, okay, for this Bears team to be good. Ryan Poles has gotten a clean slate. It takes a little bit more. Look even at the Jaguars, who had a similarly clean slate. Start 2-6 last year, 3-7. Like, I don't think the Bears jump. If the Bears are good this year, it's going to be because they stick to it and they stay healthy while other teams get hurt, much like the Jaguars did last year. And they're not coming into Kansas City and beating the Chiefs. No way.
Yeah. No, I love how you're like upset that I'm giving you a chance to say something.
I know. I'm more upset at the schedule makers for even putting them on the schedule.
And if I skipped you, I don't get a say. First you let me know 1 minute before we start. Then I don't get a say. I can hear it now. All right, back to me. At the New York Jets. This is one of the more coveted games. This one is a Sunday nighter, and I do not have the Chiefs losing to the New York Jets. I don't think the Jets are ready to win this kind of game, and I think this is going to be one that gets circled on the Chiefs calendar. They know it's a statement game. I think they make it. I think they handle the Jets and handle them, frankly, with ease. Jeff?
I got an L, and I just think Aaron Rodgers has never lost to the Chiefs, right? Since Patrick Mahomes has been here, because we played him one time. So,
and Mahomes didn't play.
Yeah, but I feel like the Jets defense can create problems for the Chiefs offense. I think.
By the way, real quick before people freak out, he did lose here. Remember, they came in undefeated and lost to the Romeo Crennel.
That's right. I'm talking about the Patrick Mahomes era.
Yeah. Okay, just want to be clear, just for
and they're playing in New York this time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think Aaron Rodgers is the chip on his shoulder this season. I think this is one of their marquee games. They start with Buffalo. I think they want to find a way to start fast. But again, I think Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, they've got a defense that can create problems for the Chiefs. And I'm not sold on the Chiefs receivers being as good as they were this past season. So I feel like their defense can create turnovers, can create pressure, and Aaron Rodgers can make plays and win the game.
All right, Eric, we have our first loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jeff had it. By the way, he was a minus 900 favorite on the betting markets to have the first loss amongst the three of us. I saw that out there. Eric, do you join him with a loss here on the road against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets?
This is one that I could see them losing. They have never Rodgers we're going to get two firsts here in consecutive weeks. Because Rodgers and Mahomes have never played each other before, and so that I think is that's important. I think to both men. This Jets team kind of reminds me of what Tampa Bay was in 2020, where I don't know if they win their division, but I think they're going to be scary from a 5 seed. Or 6 seed come playoff time. And so to match that, the Chiefs did beat the Bucs on the road in the regular season in 2020. I think they do the same here. I think it's close, but I think the Chiefs win this one. Jeff's right, though. The Jets are a very good team.
Okay, what is we'll put the fifth game in the fourth quarter. Through the first quarter of the season, Eric and I have the Chiefs at 4-0. Jeff has them at 3-1. That takes us to a roadie at the Minnesota Vikings, Jeff. Kirk Cousins licking his lips to validate his, I don't know what the hell. There's nothing to this. It's an interconference game. Chiefs will come in as a favorite, I assume, by around a touchdown. What are you thinking in this one?
Well, hey, look, we all know the Vikings had a horrible pass defense last year. They've tried to do a lot in their secondary to improve that, but they just traded away one of their best pass rushers. I feel like their defense is still going to be a big question mark. Once this game rolls around, I think they'll get better as time goes on. But I just feel like whenever you're talking about a team that was bad defensively in the previous season, going up against a Mahomes, Andy Reid offense, it's always going to be advantage Chiefs. So I give them the Chiefs win in that one too.
Eric?
Mahomes has never lost a game in a stadium with a closed roof. He's also never beaten the Minnesota Vikings. Both, I think one of those continues and one of them changes. I'll eat my shorts if the Vikings with Kirk Cousins beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Jeff's absolutely right. This team, I mean, look, I like Kwesi a lot. I think Kevin O'Connell is great. That team defensively was an absolute bus fire last year that lived off of turnovers. And even the guy that got all the interceptions for them is gone to Pittsburgh, and Patrick Peterson. He didn't fit in with the Brian Flores defense. And Zadarius Smith just got traded for a swap of late round picks. Like this team's expecting Byron Murphy and Marcus Davenport to be the savior there. I like the Addison pick for sure. But Kirk Cousins is the second oldest starting quarterback in the NFL. At some point, the thing falls apart for Minnesota. It's not going to come together against the Chiefs. I'll just say that.
And this is the game. I don't know if I'll be right or not, but there's always a game where you're like, "How?"
I listen to your show, Petra. I know what's coming, and I spit out my coffee when I listen to your show. And you said that Kirk freaking Cousins was going to beat Patrick Mahomes. For God's sake.
That's not fair.
Kirk Cousins didn't beat Matt Moore.
Well, that's not fair that you listen to the show and that you have my whole battle plan here, because I did think about just changing it up and going with a different one, but I'm like, I was like, either going to be true to what I've done before, or I've got to change it up. And I do reserve the right to make some changes along the way, because new information, you can change some things. Not enough new information. Listen, I don't know what game it'll be, but there's always some game that happens to every team. The New England Patriots would lose a game they shouldn't lose. I think for all the reasons that have been stated as to why they're supposed to win, this is the type of game that stings them. Like the Vikings will have this circle. The Chiefs are always circle, but they'll get their best effort from the Minnesota Vikings, and this will just be the one that the Chiefs look ahead, to the Denver Broncos, who may be making some noise at that point. There's going to be no reason to get fired up. I think the Vikings are going to be a 500-ish team, a little below 500. So what's the reason for them to be fired up? So I think this is the classic letdown, look ahead situation, and then the Chiefs get stung. What's so wrong with that, Eric?
Tommy Lester, Kirk Cousins this year's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's played in February before. Let's stop comparing great quarterbacks to good quarterbacks. I mean, it could happen. Look, I've said this a number of times on your show. This is a weird league. Anything can happen to anybody, except for the Super Bowl winning, happening to Kirk Cousins. Okay. And anybody can beat the Chiefs. I'll say it, not Kirk Cousins.
Are the Denver Broncos, Eric, you're up first on this one. Are they going to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead?
No. The streak continues.
I agree. The streak continues. I've got the Chiefs beating the Broncos. Listen, the Broncos may be better, but they are not ready to win in Arrowhead. Although I do kind of feel like if the streak is going to end, it's probably going to end at Kansas City with a letdown type of situation. But I'm not going to predict it here. Not now.
Soren loves his letdown games.
I do. That's what I always do.
Soren thinking he can pick the letdown games is my drug. It's like I could find the letdown game. Like any one of us picked the Colts last year to be the letdown game.
Yeah.
The 0-1-1 Colts with like dead as a doornail Matt Ryan.
I did have the Colts in the points in my prediction that week. I said I think this will be an ugly game. I think the Chiefs kick a field goal to try to get away with a win. Jeff, do you have the Chiefs beating the Denver Broncos?
No. I mean, I think the Broncos are going to be a tough matchup, and let's not forget they played 2 one-score games against this team last year with Nathaniel Hackett coaching them. But I don't think that's going to be a game they're going to lose.
So you have the Chiefs winning. Okay. I kind of threw you a curve. I said, I said it the other way, but I knew what you meant. So Jeff's got the Chiefs winning. All three of us have the Chiefs over the Broncos. All right. Chargers come into Arrowhead Stadium and get a win. I think this will be a game that they need to make a statement. I think they make a statement. These games have been really close. Again, maybe a hint of a letdown. No, I'm just kidding. On that one, I think the Chargers throw everything they have at this one. It's also sandwiched in and around the Broncos game, which is kind of a weird dynamic. So I will take the Chargers to pull the upset.
Now, is that after the bye?
The bye is week 10. So we're still before the bye.
Okay.
Jeff, what do you got?
That's funny. I got the Chargers beating them, but I have it being in LA at the end of the year. I think the Chiefs win this game because they know what it means. The Chargers have to make a huge move in the conference and the division, and I think the Chiefs know that. And I think they stone them early and try to make sure that they protect their turf. So Eric, I think Broncos Chargers back to back. They're not losing those games.
I think the Chargers will win this game.
Okay,
but for none of the reasons you said. You're like, the Chargers need this game. When have the Chargers ever won a game they needed to win, Petro? The game they need to win is the one Jeff's going to pick that they win later. And that's the one they're going to come in oh, can we sweep the Chiefs? And then, Pat's going to get them at the end of the game. I do think the Chargers do come into Arrowhead. The Chiefs are a better road team than they are a home team. It's also one of those 4:00 games at Arrowhead. It's kind of got all the ingredients to it. So yeah, go Chargers in this one.
Okay. At Denver, Jeff, this is October 29th. At the Denver Broncos on a Thursday. Is this the Thursday? I'm looking here. I know it's a Sunday.
I think the first one's the Thursday.
The first one was the Thursday. So this is a full 7 days at Denver. What do you got, Jeff?
I got an L. I think Sean Payton pulls it out.
Streak ends.
2 weeks after playing them at home, feeling the sting of that defeat, maybe a close defeat there for the Broncos. I think he comes in. I look at the Broncos, and I tell people all the time, Javonte Williams got hurt. Tim Patrick got hurt. Garrett Bowles got hurt. They lost a lot of key players, and they've added some good players. I think this team, with a better roster, with a better coach, is going to be dangerous. I think the Chiefs find that out on the road that week.
All right, Eric.
I do think the Broncos are a really good bet to make the playoffs this year. I think that Sean Payton's wonderful coach. We're just 2 years removed from him taking Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, and Jameis Winston to 9 wins. They do not beat the Chiefs this year, though.
Okay, so he's got a loss. Or he got a win for the Chiefs.
Just one loss through the first few games.
I too have a win. I am not picking a Broncos win against the Chiefs until it's already happened. It'll be the year after it's happened. Otherwise, I will auto pick the Chiefs.
But you'll pick the Kirk Cousins and the Vikings to be the
that's
game
right.
that it sneaks up on them.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's not a 15-game freight train coming down the tracks at me with the Minnesota Vikings, right? These things are real. Trends, look aheads, letdowns. These are the things you got to focus on, Jeff. All right, Eric, you get the lead on the Dolphin game. They're in Germany. Who's winning?
Win.
Win.
I think by then, all the stuff that the Dolphins were doing to try to fool people and all that stuff, something's going to go wrong. The defense is going to implode. Tua's going to get hurt. Offense is going to be figured out. Whatever. By then, it's going to be the Chiefs are going to be better than them. So.
The thing I wanted to say about this game was I was told that the Dolphins' hand was way up asking for this game for Germany. That part of the reason this ended up being it was that they wanted it. They and I think the coaching staff wanted no part of a week in Miami of the return of Tyreek Hill. Go to Germany, eliminate a lot of the distractions. The questions will be fluffy. How do you like the schnitzel? Those kind of questions. Yeah. That's. I was told that was one of the reasons as to how this game came about is that the Dolphins, people in Miami said the Dolphins really wanted this game and didn't want to give it, which to me I think is interesting because it means they're already seeing all the joys and all the drama that come with having Tyreek Hill on your team. If they're already like, let's avoid Kansas City and go play in Germany, they've already got a handful on their hands, and so therefore, no, I've got the win as well, Jeff.
Yeah, I've got them losing this game. I think this is the
Chiefs losing.
That's the Dolphins losing. Chiefs winning. Sorry, Chiefs winning. But that stretch Charger, 2 division games, and then you go to Germany. You got the Eagles after that. I think the Chiefs usually find a way to get focused and getting overseas. And I don't know how much the Tyreek Hill stuff is going to matter this year. I think it would have been more of a bigger deal a season ago. But, yeah, I'm with Eric. I think just the way the Miami Dolphins play football, at some point, the quarterback's going to be banged up. They have a key injury. Something's going to go wrong. And just by that point in the season, you can expect something to be off with them. So I got the Chiefs winning that one.
All right, so we pull into the bye week in week 10. Eric, complete homer, 8-1. He has the Chiefs hat. Jeff and I, the more thoughtful, deep analysis. We have the Chiefs at 7-2 as they enter the bye week. They come out of the bye week against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I have them beating the Philadelphia Eagles. This is Andy Reid off a bye. I'll take the Chiefs off a bye against anyone you want to put them up against. Jeff, what do you got?
I got the Chiefs losing this one.
Okay.
I think I agree with you. I think it's very hard for me to pick Reid coming off a bye, but he has lost in some seasons with that advantage. And I think that the Eagles are going to be a really good team, be hitting their stride. I think a lot of the trash that Juju Smith-Schuster talked, even though he won't be here, will still be resonating with them. They'll be fired up to play this game. Defense should be better, but it'll be a better run defense by that point. I think they eke it out.
Okay. Eric.
I have the Eagles in this one as well. So the Eagles have a bye before this game as well. So it mitigates it a little bit. Although I do believe that what Andy Reid provides off a bye is better than what Sirianni provides off a bye. The Eagles are a pretty good team. The Chiefs have kind of, with Buffalo, for example, have been like, yeah, you win these little stupid regular season battles, but we win the war. We kick your ass in the playoffs. I think that so I think they lose this one.
All right, there it is. By the way, I don't get why it's a Monday night game coming off a bye for both these teams. That is one of the things that I think is interesting. By the way, we're proudly brought to you by GAN Asphalt and Concrete. You know, they're hiring for all positions right now. Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. As you see, Jeff Chadiha wearing the colors.
Got the swag on. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you'd like to join one of Kansas City's fastest growing teams, hit them up right now. It's GANAsphalt.com, hiring for all positions, project manager, truck drivers, operators, crew members, starting pay up to $30 per hour based on experience, pay time off, and insurance. That's just some of the benefits. Be a part of the GAN Asphalt and Concrete team. Go to GANAsphalt.com. Let's turn to the Las Vegas Raiders. Jeff, you can do the honors on this. At Las Vegas, are the Raiders ready to take down the Chiefs?
No. I mean, another team that had all kinds of defensive issues in the secondary. I'll see what their pass rush looks like with the kid they got from Texas Tech, Tyree. What's his name? I forget his last name.
Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, Tyree Wilson. I was going to say Tyree Willis. So I like the idea of him and Chandler Jones and Max Crosby, but I just feel like the Raiders aren't going to beat this team at all this season. So I'm with Eric. This is my Broncos for Eric. Like, the Raiders aren't beating the Chiefs this year.
Yeah. By the way, you're lucky I didn't say David Tyree the way I usually handle names on this one. How about it? Raiders in Vegas. They ready to get a win, Eric, now?
Hot take. I don't think Mahomes loses in Vegas during the duration of his career. Like, they'll lose. I mean, they lost to Vegas. They lost to Vegas at home already, with Carr.
Is he golfing in Vegas with Steph Curry?
What's that?
Even to Steph Curry in Vegas? I'm joking. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they're playing the golf tournament. Come on, Eric.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you haven't seen that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson?
No, I have. I don't watch a lot of live TV.
Well, they're going to play. They haven't played.
Oh, I see. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Year.
Okay, they'll lose that game. Although, can we talk for a sec about how washed Klay Thompson looked the other day?
He didn't look washed 2 games before it, but when he was raining like a record number of threes. But yes, he did. It did not go well in that final game. But yeah, tape delayed to the West Coast with you, Eric. Except the problem is you're on the East Coast. It was a little slow for you to get that one figured out. I've got a loss at the Raiders.
Wow.
Listen,
Jimmy G is going to beat Pat.
Yes, that is actually the kind of guy who can beat him. Not make mistakes. The Chiefs have a bad day mistake-wise. Listen, picking anybody against the Chiefs, they're going to be favored in every game. So when they lose, they don't lose because of practical reasons. They lose because something screwy happened. So why not against the Raiders in Las Vegas? I've got a loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. Eric, you're up first on the Packers at Green Bay. Jordan Love's coming out party. The Packers get it.
I low-key really want to go to this game, like physically. Green Bay is a spectacle for sure. I mean, they only beat Jordan Love by 6 the first time. I do think the Packers are going to be an underrated team. Let's go with this being the surprising loss for them.
Okay. By the way, I do love Tina. Poor Eric. No idea what is going on. Okay, so a loss in Green Bay for Eric. I've got a win for the Chiefs in Green Bay. I think the Packers. I think they're kind of a crafty bet to, if you want to bet several like 200 plus, plus 200, 2-1 or more dogs to win the division. It's not going to be all favorites. And I think the Titans are kind of a good one. I think the Packers are kind of a good one. I'm not convinced that the Lions are ready to handle the bullseye on their back, which they clearly have. So I think the Packers might run them down, but I don't think they're running down the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will get it done in Green Bay. I think that's the kind of game that, the history, the ambiance, everything that's there. Chiefs will be up and ready to play. You'll get the best version of the Chiefs. They're not losing to Green Bay. Jeff, who do you got winning?
Same thing. Green Bay, Chiefs winning. I look at Green Bay. I'm more optimistic about Jordan Love because of the things I'm hearing about him, the way he's played in practice and the way he looked last year against Philadelphia. I just think when you've got that many young receivers and that young of a quarterback or that inexperienced of a quarterback, going against a Spagnuolo defense, you're just asking for some turnovers at some point. I think that would decide a game like this. So I think the Chiefs end up winning.
I will buy that. All right. Buffalo Bills are coming into Arrowhead. And for all the reasons that Eric said, I've got the Bills. This is the kind of game that Buffalo throws all their heart and emotion and energy into, and they find a way to win it. So give me the Bills to take this game. I've got a loss. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, who do you got?
Same thing. Loss. I mean, they haven't lost to the Chiefs. They haven't beaten the Chiefs. Excuse me. They've only beaten the Chiefs in the regular season and only lost to them in the postseason over the last, couple of years. So I'll stick with that trend. I feel that they come, especially at that point in the season when they're going to be fighting to hold on to the AFC East with the Jets on their heels and the Dolphins on their heels. I'm curious to see how their offense looks, because I thought they would take a receiver in the draft. They wound up taking the tight end from Utah, Kincaid. And so if they're going to more two tight end looks and trying to ask Jared Allen to be more of a player in the pocket, we'll see if that works out. But I think they'll be beating the Chiefs this year again.
I think they've got a lot better running back. They're turning it over to James Cook. I think he's going to be a dynamic threat for the Bills as well. Eric, who do you got winning this one?
Jeff went all Soren, called him Jared Allen. Love that.
They call him Jared Allen?
Yeah.
Josh Allen. Yeah.
This one's tricky for me. I think they go 1-1 when it comes to the Bills and the Bengals coming to Arrowhead. I'm going to take the Bills here and then the Bengals later. So I like the Bills. The Bills always sort of win these games against the Chiefs. This is another one where I think the one on the 31st of December is going to be primetime enough, even though they start at the same time. It'll be primetime enough, I think, for the Chiefs to want to pull through. Plus, I think they hate the Bengals more than they hate the Bills.
All right, so the Chiefs win against the Bills or lose?
Lose. This is a loss here.
Okay, this is a loss. All right. So all three of us
losses right now.
All three of us have the loss there. Just to update, Jeff has 4 losses. Eric has 4 losses. I have 4 losses. First up on this one, Jeff, at the New England Patriots. It's a Monday Night Football game. Who you got?
I think this game will be really ugly, just because Belichick can craft some stuff up. He's got some good pass rushers with Matt Judon and Josh Uche and a lot of good man-to-man cover guys again. But, God, if they can score, if they may be one of the worst offenses in the league again, just based on their personnel and the quarterback. And I just don't, it's a tough place to play, a tough team and a coach to play. I think the Chiefs find an answer for it and get the win.
All right. Eags, what do you got with the Pats Monday night?
The Pats are cooked.
I'm there as well. I don't see resistance is futile. That's fine. They may, have a couple of crafty moments on defense, but they're not going to be able to score. That's for sure. All right, Eric, you got the honors. Raiders coming back Christmas Day.
Yeah, I mean, no. The Raiders are going to get killed.
Chiefs are going to be sour and pissed off that on Christmas Day they're playing a football game. That is not good news for the Raiders. I've got the Chiefs. By the way, friend of the pod, Adam Hill has already booked my house for Christmas Eve.
Wait, I can't. I don't get your house.
Are you coming to cover the game?
No, I'm just joking. I'll.
By the way, and that went over like a lead balloon when I passed it along to my wife. So we'll see how that ends up going over when it's all said and done.
I mean, I bet you she said at least it's not eager.
Well, at least he'll turn a light off and hang a towel back up. We've got that going for him. Jeff, what do you got? Raiders coming in. Who do you like?
They'll be done by that point in the season. I think it'll be like this past season. They may have a good first quarter, but they'll fade away fast, be on the road for the holidays, ready to get the season over with. Yeah, I think Chiefs get a win here. Easy win. Actually.
All right. New Year's Eve, Cincinnati Bengals come to town, and I know the Bengals have played well, but I think the worm will turn. Chiefs will start getting the better of this. I do have them beating the Bengals. I think they get the full force of what the Chiefs have to bring. No look ahead, no letdown here. Out with the Bengals, and so the best Chiefs version shows up, and they get the win. Jeff, who you got?
I got the Bengals for the complete opposite reason.
Okay.
Bengals spent the entire offseason being pissed off about Joseph Osai shoving Patrick Mahomes at the end of that last game and missing an opportunity to go back to the Super Bowl. I think they got the better roster. And so I think at that point in the season, they're going to be playing for Possibly home field advantage, possibly a division championship. I think they end up being a 4-1 team against the Chiefs when this is all said and done. L for the Chiefs.
Yeah. How about it, Eric? Is it his 5th or 6th sack that Felix has against Orlando Brown that seals the game for the Chiefs? I know you're picking the Chiefs.
No Jesse Bates. Obviously Orlando Brown there. A revolving door at right tackle. I think by then Chiefs will be healthier. I'm going to go with Kansas City here. I think that they're finally, I think they thoroughly outplayed the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. I think that they've thoroughly outplayed them in 3 out of the 4 games that preceded this one. The only one that they kind of got handled in was the one in Paul Brown last year. I think they're the better team. I think they win this one. And I think they clinch everything with this win.
All right. Jeff, take us home. Final game at the Chargers. You've got them with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses coming in. They're sitting at 11-5. What do they do in LA?
L loss.
Oh,
I got taken an L.
Yes.
I think that game will be more of the Chargers. I think Eric is right. I think they will probably win the AFC West again. The game won't mean anything. Probably more to the Chargers than it will to the Chiefs.
Okay.
So I got them taking that one.
Eager?
I'm losing that one.
Eric, where you got them going?
I think the Chargers will really need the game. I think that Blaine Gabbert will get the start, and I think the Chargers will still lose.
That's a bold prediction there.
I mean, you guys remember 2013, right? Where the Chargers needed the win to get in the playoffs, and the Chiefs started Chase Daniel, and that game went into overtime.
Yeah,
like this Chargers team knows how to melt the bleep down.
Your boy, who was the coach of that Chargers team? How far back are we going
here? Or something
10 years ago? You're pulling a 10. Remember back in 1979 when Dan Fouts missed Charlie
remember
Joyner
the history of the Chargers.
Route? What?
The Chargers have run good once in 1994 with Stan Humphries. Other than that, it has been a joke. The whole franchise, the whole thing.
They've lost by a combined 12 points to this team in the last 3 losses.
And they outplay. I mean, like Herbert has played like a Adonis against the Chiefs, and they still can't win. Like, what happens when he hangs a bad game or something?
Tina says Chargers always fall apart at the end of the season. Tommy says Chadiha is taking the under on this one. And then I love this. Brad says there's a roof. Not technically. The NFL does not consider that a roof in Los Angeles with the Chargers because when there was lightning, they delayed the game because it's not a roof.
Yet another reason to fade the Chargers. They can't even get a dome stadium correct.
And I have the Chiefs having the division locked up and and probably being iced out of the number 1 seed and the game not mattering. I think somebody's schedule is maybe going to get them on a roll, whether it's Buffalo or Cincinnati. I think somebody could be on a roll and the Chiefs could be already frozen out of the 1 seed. Therefore, they have nothing to play for. They mail it in and the Chargers get the win. I bring them home at 12-5. So Eric Eager, not shocking. If we had bets that we could make on where would we rank on wins, heavy favorite, Jeff would have the worst record. That comes in 11-6. Heavy favorite that Eric would have the best record. That comes in at 13-4, and by process of elimination, the steady hand brings the Chiefs in at 12-5. That's me.
Oh, really? Right where the betting markets are. Funny.
Yeah. 11.5. I've got them over. I'm taking the over, right? Like if I'm right where the betting markets is, so is Jeff then, right?
I have them regressing this year. 14 wins to 13 wins.
That is how will they ever get over it? How will they ever get over it? All right, there is our view of the schedule. If you've got a view of a rough-looking parking lot for your business, can asphalt and concrete, nationally recognized, can handle any and all problems you may have with your parking lot. Don't let the first impression you leave with clients coming to your business being a bumpy, cratered, moon-like surface. Let Gann Asphalt and Concrete give you a perfectly smooth, wonderful parking lot. Full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Consultations are free. There are no commissions for their employees. Nope. In-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. You get just the best with Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Find them online at gannasphalt.com. If you catch us via the podcast, remember we stream live. It's Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central. Of course, you can also catch our sister podcast. That's our 2D podcast. We do that one around 9 p.m. Central on Tuesdays. We break down the entire National Football League on that one. So for Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Eric Eager from Sumer Sports, his hotel room, and apparently his T-shirt. My name is Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB, saying thank you very much for joining us on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.